If you're like me, when you sit at your desk, you tend to fidget. Sometimes this is with things that are fine to fidget with, but most of the time I find it's not. So I've started to keep a fingerboard at arm's reach. The problem is I keep grinding my keyboard, which isn't great. But one day I watched a video and got an idea. See, the Zenga Bros built Andy Anderson skatable furniture, which could convert into ramps for a break and then back into business mode, which would make it easier to maximize fun in the day.
Now you might be thinking, Cam, why don't you just use a ramp? Well, it's too much effort to get it out and pack away every time I use it. That's why I just grind the keyboard. But I was thinking, what if my keyboard, just like the furniture, could transform temporarily into a ramp? I had a thought. What if, where the top flips up, the ramps are under the top and they fold out?
Where on a keyboard could I hide ramps and rails? A palm rest, if it's hollowed out, but how many can I hide on the inside? And how do I make them transform to the outside?
So I bought a big hinge and I realized there's a problem for the sides. The front is fine. The front, it can make that perfect little right angle, and then it can just, problem is that on the sides, I realized if I wanted them to kind of fold out from the top, there just isn't a way. There isn't a way to make them fold out from the top.
The problem is I want the skateboard to grind the metal of the hinge, which means when the ramps are closed on the inside of the palm rest, I need it in this state.
For the sides, I realized I can make this inner edge be the horizontal. The top will sit on here, lift the lid up. This swivels all the way out. So this goes all the way down. We've got the ramp. Oh my days, bro. This is actually freaking perfection.
Okay, so the hinge of the ramp will attach to the side of the keyboard, but that means the ramp will make my desk at an angle. Nah, that's a later problem.
Whoa, that's annoying.
It seems the stock wood has been CNC'd at an angle. I only noticed this when I was looking at the 3D model of my keyboard, that the sides are slanted, they're not vertical. Oh yeah, Keychron uploaded 3D models for most of their keyboards because they want you to mod them. It really felt like a cheat code, having perfect placement for the switches and plugs on the side of the keyboard. The only measuring I had to do was for the part I'd removed, but it was as I began to model that I realized this may just work, because the palm rest portion has multiple joints to hold the sides straight. Whilst I've never made anything like this before, I won't know if it works until I try it. To laser cut my designs from wood, Xtool have sent me their brand new modular M2 machine, and they sponsored today's video, so big thanks to them for the support. But safety first. I haven't set up fume extraction on the M2 yet, so before we check out its modules, I'm going to run these cuts on its big bro, the P2, to stay in the flow.
It fits. That's good. And then this can go on top. Oh my goodness, that is locking in. Yes, rolling on. That's sick. Bro, stay in your lane. The hard part now. Yeah, batteries are hefty, nice decent bit of angle. I don't know how I'm gonna make it stay open, but at this height, it won't hit the space bar if you're coming across the top. So the idea is that you can come up here, ollie pretty early to be able to land up on this rail.
I thought cutting the hinge into the pieces I needed was a lot of work, but oh, was I wrong.
To be able to open this, I want to cut a little tab here, cut the metal so just the top section extends out. My fingernail can just catch the metal to then pry it up.
See, I bought this C-channel from the hardware store thinking all I would need to do is grind some little lips for my finger to grab. But then I realized that where the ramps fold inside is going to hit the base of that C-channel metal. And the reason I bought the C-channels is because I bought thicker plywood that it perfectly fit over. But then I realized that hinge wasn't grindable with that thickness of plywood, meaning I was stuck turning a piece of C-channel into L channel for like an hour. Seriously, like I literally burnt through all of my cutting bits except for one, and then thankfully I finished all of my grinding with a teeny bit left.
Whoa. I'm so grotty.
That hinge just misses, just down at the top edge. Oh, yeah, that will work. It's stuff like this that sounds so simple in your head until you try and make it and you're like, oh yeah, that bit would hit this bit. Like just making this little corner where those hinges perfectly meet up so this can grind across and pop off. It looks sick so far. Somehow I think the ramp's fine. I don't know how it got away unscathed. This leaves me trying to find a way to get the lid open so the skateboard can grind across the top and not have it slammed shut. He's just scared the full whiff of the exhaust. Is it blowing in your face? We've got the new air purifier. Do you like it?
The M2's 10-watt diode laser module has built-in autofocus to measure the height of my material and built-in air assist to ensure a clean cut through.
Moment of truth. You ready? Push it down. It can't fall over. Whoa, that's actually locks in tight. Flick up, push down. Oh, that is so good because I go up, down. Flick it up, push it down, and it locks. Mate, that was just straight from the brain. That was off the dome. I was like, how could I do this with just flat 2D profiles?
I thought it was game over, having to laser cut a lid support, but I realized if I can rotate a square in a hole, I can also push that square into a square hole from a circle hole, meaning I can rotate my support up, push it down, and even the weight of the lid will hold it in place. And if I cut my pin just the right way, it'll sandwich between two pieces of wood and can't fall out.
I've never made something so 3D with laser cutting before. We're like moving parts now.
As someone that loves skateboarding, I was completely blown away by these little fingerboards. Like, these wheels have bearings, and I mean it. If we zoom in, you can catch a glint of the little ball bearings on the inside. And those are inserted into wheels that have rubber, not plastic, but grippy rubber. Speaking of grip, the top is foam, which feels a lot nicer in your skin than sandpaper. The deck itself is made from wood, that's black paint over plywood, and underneath we have our metal trucks with rubber bushings. That's right, you can steer like a real skateboard. And all of these aspects make it feel premium and not like a cheap plastic kid's toy. Speaking of cheap, I only paid $20 for my fingerboard. And I say only $20 because my creator mate Brian Hempstead is a sponsored fingerboard rider. And he creates incredible edits and incredible miniature skate parks. Just the tricks he can do is insane. And he's putting together a board for me by his sponsor Chems so I can experience what the pros use at that premium price point. Oh yeah, I called him to show him what I was building.
Okay. Damn, dude. That's so sick.
Also, he just bought a truck which he'll be 3D printing and just like building a custom interior to live inside of. He's been sending me designs of like the custom dashboard that will control all the tech on the inside. So I'll link his channel below because this is his first big project ever like this, and I'm keen to see how it goes. Hopefully his builds work first try, unlike mine. This isn't a sentence I thought I would ever say, but if I try to press the spacebar, my thumb knuckle hits the grind rails coping. By measuring the difference between the two, I can calculate how much to sink the palm rest down along with everything else to ensure I get an ergonomic typing experience. This is form and function, baby. I plan to use this for a long time, so these small details matter.
It needs something at the front to be touching.
Oh my gosh, I realized I didn't have the little rubber feet on the 3D model turned on. And so I thought I'll just add some feet to my wood. I just didn't like how that looked. And then I realized the entire side can be a foot, where at the front there's a teeny contact point in case the table isn't flat.
I'm also going to have to add a base just to thicken it all up.
Yeah, I realized when I lifted the lid, it wasn't sturdy enough for my liking, and then to my knowledge, plasticity doesn't have a finger joint mode, so I had to do every square individually, and then figure out the right tolerances so that everything's slotted in. Because it's like a 3D jigsaw, that's a slot in the right order. The hardest part about this was making sure it didn't clash with the ramps or the hinges or anything else that was already there. Oh, I'm so tired of just trying to figure out new problems. It took me a couple of days to get all the teeth to join to then create the entire like internal structure. I'm not kidding, like the entire base of the laser cutter is just finger joined teeth. So I've been using the 10-watt diode laser module, and I can now swap it simply to a printer module. I'm running out of excuses to why it's not working. I think I want the ramp to have like arrows with the arrows. Bam, then no. Reverse. Wait, what? Click. Yeah. Why are they not touching though? Oh no! I just clocked. Make one that matches. Mirror image the one. Whilst I'm quite nifty at Inkscape for fixing up laser cut paths, creating graphics, not so much. At first I thought making the palm rest section be a brick ledge would be dope because it matches the street skating, but then I realized I don't want bricks on my desk. But after playing around for a bit, I found I liked the waves, which is what it's all about. I just played until I found something that I liked. And it was at this moment, after years of knowing that boxes are printed with extra graphic before they cut the clean line, that I remembered to add a full bleed to my graphic. So that way when I laser cut it, it is printed all the way up to the edge. And it was something about adding these extras that I knew would be cut off felt very professional. But that feeling was very short-lived when I tried to make some lines match the angle of my logo. Duplicate, flip, and then make the flip parts touch, because they'll perfectly align. Look at that. It's beautiful. Yeah, that works pretty good. Oi! I'm so nervous for this next step. Does it look good? Oh yeah, that's sick. Oh, I thought the wood might soak up more color, but like that's pretty vibrant, especially the yellow. Now the problem is I only have this much pine plywood left that I can print on well. I've never really done a design like this where it's like needs to kind of align with the thing I'm cutting. And then I'm cutting after I've done the design. But whenever you do something new for the first time, it's a little bit like, okay. Yes, it's starting! Now I realized my favorite set of keycaps perfectly match the graphics I designed, like they were my favorite colors or something. And it was here I remembered I could custom program a layer on my keyboard, making it so that all keys type nothing except for the layer shift key, which will put it back into typing mode. This will help avoid accidental inputs whilst having fun. Like, not perfect. And it's, I think because of the wood, like the wood's absorbed the ink and it's just running along the grain of the wood. And in this spot, it's slightly raised. So I reckon like a bit of wood's just nicked the like inkjet head and absorbed too much ink that's not meant to have touched. Yeah, thanks to wood being natural, it absorbed ink differently depending on where it was on the grain. So I switched from 100% down to 80%, much cleaner. Look at that. It's not fuzzy anymore. But I reckon 60% will be crisp. Now, if you've used a laser cutter before, you might be thinking, dang, that is some precise placement. How did you do that with just a built-in camera on the lid? Dude, I selected the close shot camera, which is a second camera attached to the head that gives me a detailed shot that I can align my laser path. Like, just look at the before and the after. Like, it's features like this that make a good tool great. But machines like this will only take you so far.
Oh no, it's plastic weld. Oh, it says metal. Maybe, do you put wood glue and it together? I'm just kidding.
I've never laser cut in like a 3D folding, sliding, hinging mechanism before. I'm so happy with how this is turning out, even if I have to use glue because I couldn't fit a screw with how thin the wood is. Which almost did me in because like trying to make sure it glues in the right spot for when it folds down was impossible. And so I ended up actually tracing where the hinge needed to be so it all fold into the right spot.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Okay.
And this is what it's all about, man. Like shifting from the consumption, crossing that line into creation. Like it's easy to watch someone make something or just to buy something, but creating and making is so rewarding. And as a daily reminder to keep that balance, you can grab your cap now at shop.kamshan.com or subscribe to watch me wear mine in projects like this one. Now, as I stood back to marvel at what I'd created, I realized I forgot something. I have a straw.
Yeah, that works. This slaps. I freaking love it. I'm so sick of like general tech. It's either it's boring, the same old thing, slimmer and thinner, or ads on fridges. No, this is an accessory to my tech. Like it can't be taken away. The fun. Like I'm my guard is completely down because I'm just like, I love this. Everything about it, and it won't change. I'm having so much fun with this that I want you to experience it too. So let me know in the comments if you want one, or I'll put like a link in the description for some sign up thing, something, or find a way to get it made. I have no idea how that process will work, if it will eventuate into anything, but I'm genuinely like, this is the sickest thing just to have at my desk and be able to simply pop it down, fold it up when I'm done to get back into work mode. That's sick. That's sick. Yes. Oh. It's too good. Too good.